Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant morning to everyone. I would like to welcome and appreciate everyone in this online room for spending your time in witnessing this forum, which entitled Alumni Talk: Can You Survive a PR Career? So we would like to extend our warm welcome of our guest, Mr. Muhammad Ali Ahsan, Corporate Communication Executive Penang Port Sdn Bhd, Mrs. Fatin Zafira, working at Enthusiast in Communication, Dr. Siti Zanaria Binti Haji Yusof, the advisor of IPRMSA UNIZA chapter, and Ms. Nur Najwa Binti Azihan, the president of IPRMSA UNIZA chapter. So I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank to all the audience for attending this talk. So to our participants, you can also join our YouTube live. My name is Siti Azra binti Muhammad Nasir, and it is my pleasure to be your MC for today. Ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed, let's watch our montage video IPRMSA UNIZA chapter that has been prepared by Excel Media. Please, welcome. Thank you for our media team. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start our event for today, may I invite everyone to invoke the Almighty Allah for His blessing, and may peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. With that, I would like to call upon Mr. Ammar for the Dua recitation. Please welcome.
Hello. Sorry, the camera is yeah, sorry, it's like all right. So for the Muslim, you may pray according to your belief. Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوفي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي جلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك يا رحمن يا رحيم يا كريم يا رزاق يا فتاح يا علي يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. Our God, we pray to you, Allah, bless our program today. Help us so that it will work as well. Help us so that we will learn something, widen our heart, guide us, and help us protect us from any threat of harm during this COVID event. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. Thank you.
Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Mr. Ammar, for the beautiful prayers. May our event be blessed and run accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, this program is held by IPRS MA UNISA chapter to give exposure and ideas to the student concerning the working work of a public relation. This program aims to give value and experience by the communication industry practitioner to help provide and prepare the advantages to the student when venturing into the world of PR. Allow me to spend some time to introduce our respective speaker for today's session. For this forum, we have two honorable speaker, Mr. Muhammad Ali Ahsan and Ms. Fatih Zafira, to share their personal experience in their career. Without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator for today's session, Ms. Putri Nuzulaika Benti Halisan, embark to the forum. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a pleasant morning to all of our participants in today's event. For everyone information, in today's forum, we will talk about can you survive in PR career? Without further ado, let's get to know our two great panels that will discuss about our topic today. Firstly, we have Mr. Muhammad Ali Ahsan, who worked as Corporate Communication Executive at Penang Port Sdn Bhd. He pursued his study after SPM in Diploma of English and Communication in University Sultan Zainal Abidin and continued his bachelor in the same course. Next, our second panel, we have Mrs. Fatih Zafira. Currently, she working at World Trade Center, Kuala Lumpur as Corporate Communication Executive. She is an alumni of English Communication and English Language and Literature at UNISA. Last year, she just graduated from Master of Professional Communication and Media Study at UITM. Before I go further, let me just explain a bit about what is public relation, so our audience will have a better idea what we'll be discussing about. All right, everyone, public relation is strategy of communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationship between organization and their public. And its core, public relation is about influencing, engaging, and building a relationship with key stakeholders across numerous platforms in order to frame the public perception of an organization. All right, public relation practitioner will research, conduct, evaluate on a continuing basis program of action and communication to achieve the informed public understanding necessary to the success of an organization aims. Okay, lastly, public relation involved in various disciplines such as corporate communication, crisis communication, executive communication, and so on. All right. Without wasting any time, I would like to invite our guest panel to answer several questions that relate to our forum today. Okay. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Ali Ahsan.
Waalaikumsalam.
My first question is, most people, we have the perceptions that PR is in line with marketing or advertising field. Do you think this statement is true? And what are the difference of PR and advertising?
Okay. All right. First of all, thank you very much, Ms. Zulaika. And thank you very much for IPRM SA for the honor and the opportunity to talk today. On the president, Ms. Najwa, has been communicating with me for the past weeks. Doctor and also Madam Zanaria for as the advisor for IPRM SA, Ms. Fatih Zafira as well. So thank you for the question. When we talk about marketing, going in tandem with communications, I would say yes. In fact, there are a specific sub-discipline catered to this particular field. We call it MarCom or marketing communications. So what's the function of marketing communications? It's to posit themselves or positioning. If you go into PR, there's the term called positioning, where you're going to put yourself in a place where you are going to put your message in. So positioning creates the opportunity for stakeholders and outside people to know what you are, what you do, and how credible are you. So when we go for marketing, you like to understand that um, I'll give you a brief history about what PR PR did in the basically in 1800 during that time. So PR acts as a best friend for a company. You imagine like a company going for the business pitching, the business meetings. So yes, they have the discussion, they create the matchmaking, they got the business. But at the end of the day, there will be one entity who's going to build that relationship, giving praises, saying good mornings, giving gifts and prizes. That's what we call the marketing department. That's where we go in tandem to build relationships with stakeholders. Actually, it holds true even until today. There are, for instances, like several companies usually has marketing communication department because the concept for communications has been evolving this past since the 21st century. If you notice, there's a term called integrated marketing communication IMC. So everything that the communication team does, whether it's new media, whether it's advertising, whether it's using the guerrilla tactics of word to mouth, um, social media views, all relates to creating brand name. And in turn, brand name creates gener- generate leads. It generates leads and also it generates visibility. The biggest example you can see right now is basically Mr. Khairul Amin, that channel. What started 7 years ago as a cooking channel, recipe sharing channel, now becomes a millionaire. A million company where they sell food products as well. Now, how did they position themselves? As part of what they are now, they are basically doing the positioning, the marketing 7 years ago, and very organic long-term marketing, and they do their own branding and advertisements. Then they create the business. So that's where we call it in tandem. So yes, the answer is advertising works hand in hand with PR. All right, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for your clarification. Okay, next, we go to the next question for Mrs. Fatin Zafira. Nowadays, there are some rumors saying that PR firm has a lot disability. So, in your opinion, what are advantages and disadvantages of hiring of a public relation firm?
First of all, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. I bid to Dr. Zana, and thank you, Miss Azira, our lovely MC, moderator, Miss Putri, and also Miss Najwa. So going back to the question, if PR firms are a disadvantage or advantage. So first of all, we have to understand that public relations is building trust also to your brand and also about what you want to sell in your company. So it's important to have that trust and also the stakeholders understanding about your company. So if you hire a PR firm, let's say, the good thing about it is that besides having to do what you actually need to do, a PR firm actually builds onto your branding and also onto how you want to get your company across to other people. So um, how you want the public to understand what your company is about, and from there, from the PR that they are doing for you, it can create new businesses for your company. So I think having a PR firm or hiring a PR firm has many advantages rather than disadvantages. But maybe one thing we can say that if you hire an outside PR firm, the only thing or the only problem that I would say that can occur is the time that it takes for the firm to understand what your company does. And because they are a firm, maybe their sentiment towards the company itself is less. So instead, if you have an in-house PR, where you're the one working for the company and you're the one understanding what goes on inside the company from ground level up, then it would be more it would be more appealing towards your stakeholders or your clients, or actually the people that want to know more about your brand, especially if you're a startup company. And of course, hiring a PR firm is kind of expensive, because when you're hiring from outside, the resources or the manpower that they use is more. So that's a thing that you have to consider. There is about costing, but if you want to have the extra support and the company can afford a PR firm, then it would be very much beneficial for them, because PR people are also the think tankers for your company or for your organization, because they are the ones who will create new campaigns, new launches, or new ideas for how your company can move forward.
I
So
would
that's my answer for that.
love to add more to
Yeah.
this discussion. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So this very interesting thing about in-house versus outsourcing. We've been dealing this for quite some time. We saw what are the prospects and what are the disadvantages. So let me tell you about in-house first. I mean outsourcing first. In terms of the important thing of a company, it's basically ROI, return on investment. What you're investing in, what you're getting in, should be in line. It should not cause any loss and should have a lot of value. But here's the problem about PR. PR, even if you're in your course, you may found out that how do you measure your capabilities? How do you measure your KPI? PR is a very abstract thing. It's relation based. It's mostly deal with the mentality and also the visibility of people for you, the confidence of people around you. It's something that you cannot measure. So when you cannot measure this KPI, it becomes a very like word of mouth thing. I'm credible. Uh, please believe me. I'm credible. Please believe me. So how do you measure that? It's very difficult. So for companies that doesn't see the importance of the PR yet, will usually doesn't use it to the full potential. Actually, when you talk about some of the landscape in other companies, they don't really go for new media yet. Yet they go for traditional media like posters, flyers, and such. So it does take time for other companies and institutions to slowly go into the online new media way. So when you look at ROI, outsourcing usually does it in they do in two different ways. One is synthetic and one is organic. So what is it about? Okay, let's go with a very simple explanation. Organic PR advertisements or initiatives usually happens when you post in Facebook and you didn't put any budget to increase that posting towards several other places. That's what we call organic. But synthetic, we put budget for Facebook, and then they will put the message on for hundreds and hundreds of thousands, depending on your budget, for more visibility. Usually, outsourcing uses this synthetic budget because for them, they're going to show it that this is going to be the value for you. But the good thing about being an informed in-house team is that if you can train yourself first, you can actually do the same thing by cutting a lot of costs for that, and you have a better brand message. Because the problem for outsourcing, they usually cater to 5 or 6 clients per period, and the message gets jumbled up. Sometimes it happens. But if you're an in-house team, then you basically are doing consistently just for the company. So that cuts costs, that trains your employees as well, and it improves the company for a long time. For me, the only moment for us to use outsourcing is if you're a startup company. Say you want to build a company after a degree about a PR firm. Now you don't have any contacts, you don't have any media relations outside of the current area, right? Because you're new. So you need outsourcing. You need that kind of team to help you get in the right track, understand what it needs to be done. Then you become an in-house, you do the same. Only then the in-house can be capable of learning the ropes and also be competitive with the other outsourcing. Because when we look at ROI, you invest in-house, it's actually 60% cost effective than doing an outsource. So that number is actually very good for your company as well, for your employers as well, when they look at that 60% of cost saving. So yeah, that's about it. That's about the difference between in-house and outsourcing. Because at the end of the day, the content is going to be the same. The approach is going to be the same. The difference is the media relations, the fast tracking, and also for the visibility, where to hit the right spot. Because any states have a different kind of demographic. Do you know that in Penang, they don't usually use Instagram much for some of the community wise. They use Facebook. We're talking 445,000 of reach in Facebook alone, and about 100,000 or 80,000 for Instagram. But if you change it to KL, you get 1.1 million for Instagram and a little more 500 or 400,000 for Facebook. Depends on the demographic. So yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening on that part.
Thank you for adding in.
All right. Thank you for both of you for the explanation. Yeah, I see now. I can see what is the advantage, and I thought it more advantage lah than disadvantage in PR career. Okay, so my third question is we want to know what is a suitable career in public relations since we are in this course. So I give both of you can explain more about this.
Miss Patin, you first or?
Yeah, sure. I think there's no specific kind of career. Like if you want to say, since you guys are in the PR field, I don't think there's a specific career that say if you were to go in corporate com or media relations or even PR itself, because it's a broad it's a very broad field, and I think whichever position you go into, it requires, first of all, yourself to be very committed in what you do, because you want to represent a brand or you want to represent a company. So you have to have that drive. And I think every career, be it corporate com or marcom, it requires that personality and also that energy. So for me, there's no specific good career. Not to say good career. I mean, there's no specific career in PR where you can choose, because um, everywhere you go, you need to have this set of skills, and every segmentation is different, but it all will lead back to PR itself. So it's a good way for you to explore. So let's say if you've graduated, you've gone into corporate communications, and then you spend like a year or 2 years there, then maybe you want to upskill yourself and venture into marketing communication, because even though it's communication, it's have, like I said, it has different segments and different understandings, different roles. So I think it's best to find what really inspires you and what you want in that specific PR field. So if you're the person who likes to meet other people, so you can go in like the client servicing part. So not many people go out for client servicing, because one, some people don't want to meet other people. So if you're the one who likes to meet other people and wants to get your name really out there, then client servicing is good for you. But back end, you also have like internal communication, internal corporate communication. So corporate communication is where you only deal with or go about in only inside your company. So I think it's very different broad areas where you can explore, and each of them will give you a different kind of experience. So I would say that there's no specific one, but you can choose the one that fits well with what you want and also how you would like it to be. So yeah, I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, because just a little bit about myself. After I graduated, I was an intern at Media Prima. So I did writing, which personally writing is a passion of mine. And then after intern, I landed my first job at an advertising company. At the advertising company, I did a little bit of digital marketing, which I think is a very good it's a very good field to explore, especially now in the digital media age. But unfortunately, the digital marketing part was not my forte, and I wasn't really happy there. But besides the digital marketing, I also did PR, where I dealt with media companies, because we have to launch campaigns and we have to deal with their PR statements and whatnot. So I found my PR passion there actually, and then I decided to quit the job because I wasn't happy, because it wasn't what I wanted. And so I pursued my master's degree, and after that, in my second semester, I applied for my current job and I got it. So I was working and I was studying at the same time. And then I think the current position that I'm in now is I'm happy with what it is, because I get to meet clients, I get to meet stakeholders, and not just bringing a good name about World Trade Center Kuala Lumpur itself, but I also get to widen my network, which is very important in PR, because if you need something or if you have something going on and you need the right person or the right company for it, then you know where you can go to, because you've made this database of network already. So yeah, I think that is my answer for that. So it's just a matter of you exploring yourself, exploring what you want first, because it's different everywhere you go. Yeah.
Okay. I wanna for that.
Yeah.
So just going a bit controversial. What if I say a bit opposite of what Miss Fatin is speaking?
Yeah, it's okay. I
Yeah. So no problem. Because why? You mentioned about trying to be an all-rounder in a way, in a sense, finding what makes you you, right? Uh, Actually, what I would propose is this is actually after some years of several years of working lah. I would say there's a discipline in several disciplines in PR, and you would be fine in some of them. Let me tell you why. All right, in PR, in corporate communications, and it works hand in hand. Doesn't matter. Um, there are several new media, marketing communication or IMC, integrated marketing communications, strategic comms and governance. Yeah, this what strategic comms and governance relates to whistleblowing, legal some legal stuff there, development, risk managing. Yes, anti-bribery policy, anti-ABMS, anti-rasuah and all that. Those are a different kind of breed. Digital marketing, business development and relations, user experience and customer relations, event manager CSR, or an all-rounder. I wouldn't say you should be an all-rounder, because what I've learned, I've tried to be an all-rounder. All right. Apparently the all-rounder that every PR executives or officers need, in everyone in this room right now, you need to have at least a semblance of an idea about how event manager CSR works, copywriting works, how to write and how to not, some of the proofreading as well. You also need some of the branding mentality. Those three things are enough for now. And then there are several major sub departments like discipline. Internal relations is a whole different game. External relations, whole different game. Because when you try to be more than what you are currently capable of, you tend to not be the best at what you can be. For myself, I've done a lot, and I decided to become new media. I am really proficient in new media, IMC, user experience, and customer relation. That's the three things that I can do apart from copywriting and all those basic works. This is because this world right now, 2022, we are going for microtransactions. We are going for cryptocurrencies. We are going for technological developments. New media is really important to look at the usage of video, the usage of social media analytics, Google Analytics, and all that, because companies doesn't evolve into this particular part yet. If you notice that they still go for traditional sense. So if you are basically a bit niche for now, I mean, you are basically a hot take in the PR industry. Oh, this guy do new media. Oh, this guy do cryptocurrency and also for user experience. You know what user experience and customer relations? Website development. So you have an idea how websites work, what kinds of UX and UI is okay for your company, accessibility for the audience, for the users, those kind of stuff. It is actually a very specific discipline for you to go on. So you are now in PR. You are learning everything from SEM 1 to SEM 7, I think. And at the end of the day, most of our PR executives, even in IPRM SA or even in UNISA, tend to have this problem. What do I want to be? I want to be do you want to be all rounder? I would say you cannot. You cannot be the best of that. So you have to choose some of the disciplines because you work in a team. Usually you work in a team. The lowest number I've seen is a team of three. Usually that team of three is a head, is an all-rounder because he or she needs to be one. But most of the time it's going to be internal, external relations, media relations, and business development. Usually the head have to go in this part. Now these two people, one of them needs to do some graphic editing, some video editing, which becomes new media and also some user experience. And one of them needs to go for branding. So for branding, it depends on the branding aspects, the logo, the meeting with people, the engagements, and the governance. This is what we call branding. So these three people can run the office already, right? If you just be around the, sometimes it doesn't mean that you cannot be an all-rounder. If you're really good at what you're doing, if you're a very good human, a very powerful human, sure, why not? But averagely, we all have our weakness and strengths, and we do know that we have a team. So what kind of seat are we filling in? What kind of role are we playing in the team? Understanding that, and then you can have a focus, give 2 3 years in your skill, then you can move on to the other discipline. That's how you grow in the PR landscape. And take 10 years or 8 years, you are full-fledged PR practitioner already. You go to IPRM SA, get your certificates, get 2 years, pay 2K, I don't remember, and you get your credit title lah for PR. So that's how it works in the career development. For those in here, the idea of not knowing what you want to be, this is actually a problem. Because why? We didn't communicate well what you can be before you actually went into the industry. Actually, it's something that I like to point out every time I did talk to a lot of places. Like I did want to talk about the importance of understanding what kind of PR executive are you. Are you the branding type? Do you like to sit down and not meet with people? Sure, but you become a new media. You focus on the website. You focus on the stuff. You focus on the things that they cannot do, and you learn on the things that they can do. Right. So this is how PR executives work. Okay, if you go for all rounder, you found out that, oh, I tak boleh buat ni, I go ni lah. I tak boleh buat ni, I go ni lah. But if you know yourself first lagi, you dah buat benda ni semua tu kan, oh, maybe I have an idea lah what to do. maybe I have something else to do. Let's take an example. You know the montage video that you sent tadi tu? It's about 10 seconds and it's about looping for 5 seconds. For those that edit the video, nice job. There's an editing there. However, is it something that you want to pursue once you go into the PR industry? If yes, work at it. If you feel like, oh, doing the video is very time consuming, I have to stay up at 4 a.m., I have to do this and that, is it not, it's not for me lah. I want to meet people, want to do some, writing, then you go for customer relationship, you go for any governance, so a lot of documents you have to write. So it works with what you want because you want to learn it first. You get the big discipline because you build your resume in 3 years. 3 years is good enough for your resume. So you give to people, you give your business card. Okay, you are a PR executive. Oh, on what? You talk to yourself, okay, I'm a new media expert. I have a subject matter expertise. Subject matter expertise is very important in the PR industry. You cannot say, I know all of them. Really? If you really meet with someone that really knows about internal relations, they're gonna tackle you and attack you. It's so good because why? You don't know actually. You only know 20% of what he knows or she knows. But if you are a subject matter expert, you can talk. Even you have differing values and opinions, you can talk. You can give your own value to that kind of discipline. And your head and your head may not have the same skills as you. So this is a bonus as well. Because why? Or you have a niche skill. The PR world right now, we have a lot of people graduating PR, doesn't know what they want to do. They jump around. They think, okay, this maybe work for me. Oh, it doesn't work for me. Man, I have to change it in 1 year. This is stressful because you're not building anything in 1 year. You're building things in 2 years, and then you're building your resume good in 3 years. 2022 is a bit different from 2010, sorry, where you need 5 years experience, 3 years experience. Not really. You need 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years is more than enough for you to look good in that resume, to get that subject matter expertise. When you work one day, you need 6 months to adapt to your work, 1 year to understand what you're doing with your work. And another that, after 1 year, you're trying to create value with your work. You're trying to find what kind of ROI that you want to do for the company to create your value. You just don't want to do things here and there every day. Okay, I do job A, I finish job B, and then balik and makan and tidur. Sometimes at one point, you become passionate enough. You 1 year, you become macam, aku nak do something lah. I want to build the new website lah. I want to do here and there. But do you have the expertise at that time? So if you already have a forecasting of 3 years, I want to do some write-up and I want to put it to bernama. This is actually your discipline. I want to do some whistleblowing, anti-bribery policy. I want to do an assessment, a system. 3 years. Digital marketing. I want to introduce a system. I want to get at least 50 clients. Media relations. Business development. I want to at least have a collaboration with National Archive of Malaysia. Right? Because it's business, right? Or whatever photos I put to National Archive of Malaysia, I will have royalty. If they want it, they pay for me. See, in 3 years, because you already have that passion, that thing to fight for. Because in PR, I've learned this the hard way. You are fighting for something. This value, this something that you fight for. There are a lot of things you're fighting. Do you want to get some good business for your company? And go business. And you wake up and bangun, oh, okay, this is for the company, this is for a noble cause. And it's also for you. And then you bangun, tak boleh, tak suka business, sales, I nak kena capai KPI, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's very stressful. I nak volunteer lah, I nak do humanitarian lah. Then you go for volunteer punya PR. Youth development, say maybe. My jam is youth development lah. So I wake up, I know what I'm fighting for, to build the youth, to show them the road before they know the road. So I wake up, I bangun, I have a noble goal. That's why you keep fighting. That's why people keep fighting for 20, 30 years. They already have that fight in them. Doesn't matter if they took a company or not, the fight is in them. The problem for all of us before we work is to find that passion, that the reason why we fight. If you go to a good company pun, the good company doesn't know the vision of what they're fighting, you become jaded juga in the vision that you're fighting juga. My previous company, KL, something to look for in your career. Because at the end of the day, the 3 years that you build in your resume, you already done a lot. And for PR, you're not making for sales. What you're doing, mostly, even though you're working in marketing comms, you are also the building of the money, sure. But you also actually is cost saving, cost versus cutting. Yeah, cost cutting. The more you cut costs, the more valuable that department became. In-house usually get it lah. Because you go for people, you ask for 1.5 for video, you have to pay 1.5. But if you do your own video, you save 1.5 already. Imagine that. Imagine how big it is. And for company that sees it, you'll be valuable. So that dynamic is there. At least you're fighting, at least you're giving and taking for the company and also for yourself. Then you're building your career from that. This is what we see. And this is what I want to push. There may be like 70% of them okay, and 30% of them are depending on the situation you are now. But keep in mind, this is something that you can fight for, something that you can look upon. Even for now, after this talk, yeah, after this talk, you sit down. What are the 3 skills you write on your? Actually, you do a business card for yourself. I go into Canva or whatnot, very free. You do a business card, then you put there your contact name, your email, your paper, or phone number. Then you talk to yourself. What are the 3 skills I am very confident that I can make money for? That I can make money. 3 skills. For me, it's copy editing, new media, and news development, and public speaking. That's the 3 things I can make money for because I know it already. I trained that, and I'm SME, subject matter expertise on that. Now, what about you? If you find only one, then find 2. If you have only 2, then find one more. If you have 3, build that one. Because you have a lot of years, and sometimes you may change your career entirely. Some people PR is not for them, even though they belajar PR. Some tiba-tiba masuk sales, masuk marketing, actual marketing. Tiba-tiba masuk digital punya website building. But the discipline in what you have in that business card that you're going to build, 3 of the things that you can make your money, use that, build on that, then build your resume from that, build your career from that. There are companies that wants that because there are companies that lacks that resources. The more value you have, that leverage, this becomes good for the company and also for you, for your career development. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Fatin. Not to offend anything,
No,
I just want to
it's
add,
okay
yeah,
because I
just want
think
to add the,
we were on different kind of levels because at my current job right now we must be an all-rounder because there's not many resources, and from my end we only have a team of 3, and we are also supported by our marketing com because we are actually representing our brand is a person, so it's not a product, it's not a service, but our brand, my office's brand is a person, so we have to represent this person, our boss lah. So we working in a team of 3. Of course, everyone has their strengths and also weaknesses, and at the current situation where mostly all around ballers. But I think, yeah, that's the beauty of it because, if you already have something in mind that what you want to do, then go for it. But because I know some of you guys don't have that yet. Because I guess that's what's happening to me because I don't really know where I'm going yet because I'm currently just reaching 2 years in the current job. But with the opportunity given, I think it's a good platform for me to find myself and explore into others because of course you're not going to be an all-rounder your entire life or your entire career. So when you get there, the journey and the experience itself will tell you will find you, and it will find itself. So yeah, but I think it's very good to have different opinions because we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different kind of energy and confidence as well. So yeah, thank you for adding in, Ashley. I hope you guys are bearing with us because yeah, it's a good sharing and basically because it's on different things. So when you have different things, it broaden your minds and also make you look into things that you've never seen them with in that sense before.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you for both of you for the great explanation. So I can tell it myself. PR is actually a really good career, and it's not a burden us to choose our career, because we ourselves need to know what we want to be and what we want to do. So from PR career, we also can show up of our power of ourselves. Okay, take note of PR career that actually PR career is not just specific career. It have a more thing that we can explore based on our self power. For the next questions, as we know, PR is one of the fields that need to have a good connection with people, as it will help to and change the company's reputations. So it's one's a personality. It's important to career as a public relation practitioner. Can you guys explain to us?
Yeah, I'll take this first.
Yeah, you go first.
All right. Is one personality important for the career? Personality, eh? Okay. Yes and no. This is very, very interesting to see. What you are and who you are, don't be too harsh on yourself. You cannot change who you are as a person. Your personality is there. It's already been born. You dah memang macam tu. You are introvert, introvert. You are extrovert, extrovert. You are ambivert, ambivert. You cannot force yourself to be someone else that you're not. And this is the beauty of it. I am an introvert as well. Yet I do some stuff to allow myself to get the relationship I should have, or that an extrovert should have as well. How does it work? Yes, I didn't talk much in the office. I usually take my lunch alone sometimes. Yeah, but it that's the beauty of it. There's nothing wrong with who you are.
There's nothing wrong with taking lunch alone.
Nothing wrong with that. Right? Don't have an idea that if you're PR, you need to have a lot of friends, you need to be outspoken, you need to be doing a lot of publicity for yourself. Yes and no, because it depends on what you are and what you can do. The person you are becoming is a long chapter lagi. You're still in the university. There are a lot of character growth that you're going to go for, a lot of pains and struggles to become something that you're going to be a beautiful version of you. So don't take it too harsh for yourself. Don't think, oh, I masuk PR, I need to be more extroverted. You're losing yourself in the process. Then you become a shell of what you are. You don't want that, do you? Right? But the one thing you change is pranay or attitude. It's not personality, it's attitude. It's work ethics. That's the only thing you can change. What you are, you cannot change. But what you do and your pranay and your attitude, that can change completely. That's the one that people will see. If you're an introvert, you don't talk much, you surely are the person that talks, that responds well. Giving opinions, you boleh. Because introverts usually diam je. Because they have things in their brain, they don't want to talk about it. Unless they're given a chance, then they talk gila-gila. Like right now. This is what happens. And for those yang that relates to me as well, betul. If people ask you for opinion, give it your all. But if people doesn't ask it, not yet. If you feel like macam nak tambah, sure, go ahead. For extrovert, you akan, hi everyone, nak makan mana apa semua. This is good. Because why? The bad dynamic between here and there, extrovert tu mesti, jom makan kat luar. Yang introvert tu macam, okay, jom lah. Tapi extrovert tu akan tanya macam, alright, oh you duduk mana? I okay sini semua. Most of the time, extroverts are very good responsive people. Extrovert are good icebreakers. It all should usually work like that. But does the dynamic becomes good? Yes. People won't judge you. 2022, people won't judge you for being introvert, extrovert. That's an old term now. But they will judge you if you datang kerja lambat, if you balik kerja awal, if you do stuff pelik-pelik, if you do kerja misal orang, that's your perangai, that's your attitude. You change that. You have the self-actualization cepat-cepat untuk understand where you are lacking. You bangun lambat ke apa ke, you menyusahkan orang, rasa kalau menyusahkan orang, then that's it. You have to change, you have to be better in that part. You cannot change who you are, but you can change what you do. and your work ethics. Your work ethics lah, you can change. So that is basically something that changes your whole career mentality entirely. Right? If you are basically the person yang memang diam every day, just sitting there in the office, buat kerja je, kerja siap semua, no one's complaining. Actually, they are actually interested for you as well, because you are just another person juga. You have your own personalities and characteristics. They don't want to talk about what they gossip on is your perangai. That's it. Dia ni asyik pakai baju sekeh pergi office, dia ni asyik tidur je kat office atau main Mobile Legends je kat office. Those are the kind of stuff that they gossip on. They're not gonna dia tu diam sangat lah. Jarang. It's rarely we see that kind of stuff. Itu diam sangat lah. Oh, dia tu macam sombong lah. No, yes, impressions go for some way. Some you cannot even change your face sometimes. Muka memang mengantuk. But people are willing to know who you are. And at that moment, if you get the chance to be known, be the best. Do the best impression. That's what I see. So, Fatih, on to you.
Yeah, I think it's besides, because like you said, personality is when you are born with it, it's something that you cannot change, and I strongly agree that do not change for somebody else, or especially for your career. But yes, in terms of attitude, and also I would like to add in that you should have a certain level of common sense, because common sense is very important, because firstly, you do not want to get others on you, or you do not want others to feel annoyed by you, because in PR it's a fast pacing kind of work, and sometimes especially in agencies where they are working around the clock, 24 hours, 24/7 around the day. So it's sometimes when you've had a very stressful week or a very stressful day, and let's say a client WhatsApp you at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., because this does happen. Just so you guys know, be prepared to get WhatsApp at 4 or 7 or 2. I think you have to have an understanding, a humanity understanding, I would say, because some people, or I believe everybody needs a certain amount of rest. And it also builds onto your personality as well. So if you, like Ali said, if you're an extrovert, but then you have to meet people or deal with people, but you know that your job requires you to do that. So in terms of being professional as well, you need to understand that your job requires you to be professional, in a sense, even though you're an extrovert. When you do your job, when you're out there, you are able to carry it. Means you are able to work with people, you are able to create conversations, and I think that also shows your level of maturity in the work that you do, and it does take some time to build up. And I would like to say that it depends on how long you've been in the industry, because it doesn't come to you like theros come and you can perform blah blah blah. It takes some time, and I think those time should be practices that in the end you can be yourself, your own personality, but when you're working you can also be the working personality and enthusiast that you are. So yeah, it's a yes and no, because it's actually, personality is very unique, because some people find that like what Ali said, dia senyap tapi kerja dia siap. Oh, macam mana dia boleh buat masa ni? Or if someone is working 9 to 5 and then like has a business or continuous studies, people would be like, oh, how does he or she does that? How does she handle two things at one time? So people are interested to know you. So then that will elevate your stand, and also make yourself be more not say likable by others, but people are interested to get to know you, and it does work well in your career. Yeah.
Alright, thank you for both of the explanations. So I really agree with Mr. Ali just now because I'm the one with introvert person actually. So I think in PR career, the most important thing is be ourselves. Okay, so can you guys share your experience in handling crisis regarding public relations?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, because for me, crisis is very far few in between. Usually we really try so hard not to create crisis. We do have the governance and the risk management team to thank for that. Every day we want to make sure we don't have any crisis, because when crisis happens, oh, it's big and it's very dangerous. And something about Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett, yeah, Warren Buffett. You know about his sentence. It takes 20 years to build a reputation, 2 years to destroy it. You see Will Smith. You know about the Will Smith problem? Yes, 20 years to build Will Smith's career, one slap and 2 minutes after to destroy that career. This is what crisis means. You never know what happened, you never anticipate it, but you can prepare and also react to it. Anticipate, more. You cannot react to it, but you can anticipate it first. Crisis wise, the closest we have, it's not really crisis, it's a controversy for the public. Penang changed it, changed its ferry operations. If you know that. Now we're not using the old ferry anymore, not using the ferry where you can have a 30 minutes cruise here and there. The sentimental value is off. So they change it into uh, new fast ferries, which is very mechanical, very robotic, very clear cut. Go to point A to point B in 4 minutes. You cut costs, but people want the old ferry. They want the icon of Penang. Yeah, but we kinda in the narrative destroyed that sentiment. So it's not really a crisis, but it does stain the name a bit. So the job of the PR is to create the branding. That's the branding part. We have to repair. We have to get in the good graces back, give it to the public, get some free tickets. Using if you're in Penang, if you have your mic card, you can use your mic card to get free tickets to your ferry. Doesn't happen. It happens in 2 years now. Because why? This is what we call the branding part. This is what we are alleviating the name for the public. So I think that's the closest we ever got to a big problem. And for your information, if a crisis happen, it's not the job of a PR tau sebenarnya. They're going to build a crisis committee. A crisis committee will be established from part of the PR punya team, and also from several other advisors and also people as well, because they are expertise in a lot of things. If you know and remember MH17, right? And MH370, 3770, that crisis team that you see there, it's very interesting case study to do. That crisis team happens with a lot of consultants, engineers, and all that, because the crisis team definitely happens, it's big. That's basically crisis. So when we talk about crisis, it's very rare, and it's something that we really don't want to do, don't want to have. Yeah. So that's it for me. Okay, Fatin, for you.
Okay, so from us at World Trade Center Kuala Lumpur, so the MICE or the BE industry, MICE being meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions, and also the business events industry. It wasn't a very good year for us. Of course, it wasn't a good year for everyone, but especially it hit the MICE and BE industry really hard. And after the restrictions were lifted and events were coming in, um, the issue that was what that raised was of course in terms of the social distancing and also the SOPs and whatnot. So that I would say that the crisis is like we are only the venue providers. So we provide space for the event organizers to do their event. So the whatever happens inside their event is basically handled by them. So for instance, we were lucky enough to be one of the mega PPVs in Malaysia, and in the first months or the first few months, there were viral videos going about kesesakan di WTCKL, PPV, and of course it came from the public. And so to combat that was we had to explain that the situation was actually well covered, well looked into. But you know, that's the power of social media right now, because even though you say whatever you want, but there is living proof, or and the viral power it really hits you, because we understand that the thing didn't actually happen. So we had to come out with press releases to explain the situation. And I think besides PPP, there were also this one time where the event got cancelled. So the event organization used us as their venue provider, but their event didn't happen. So the vendors were actually mad at the event organization, but unfortunately our name was involved as well, because we were the venue providers. And it was kind of it's something, because we have to say that sorry to the vendors, that's not like our problem, because you're the one who is actually in touch with the event organization, and the event didn't happen. It's not our fault, so like you cannot blame us, because we're not the one running the event for them. So I think that's a crisis that we've been through. Like, it's more about the SOP, and also there's physical distancing, and as well as we also change our name, and it's taking some time for people to recognize the PTCKL, but we believe that we're doing it on a very good motion right now. So since PPV, the PTCKL, and then we actually have our Mata Fair going on at the moment, and next week we'll be having our Star Vendor Pesta. So if you guys in KL can go, but yeah, please make sure you abide by the SOP and also the social distancing. So yeah, I think that's the one of the major crises that we've been through at my company.
Here we need to know
I think the line is a bit slow on her part.
Yeah, I
how
didn't hear.
anything happen. We need to take it as and learn something new about it, and make it
Okay.
as our new strength for to successful in future. So we go to our last question. What is the preparation that needs to be applied in student before working? Hopefully, both of you can answer this.
Fatin, I'll let you answer first. This one.
So the question is, what does one student need to prepare before starting to work, right? Yeah, okay. So of course, going into PR career, you already yeah, you already know what you will be going through. You already can foresee some of the things that you will need to face, or some of the challenges that you might come upon, and also understand the dynamics of what you're getting into. So I think the best preparation that you can do is besides having that working ethics, like what Ali previously mentioned, being punctual, um, being committed to doing your work and getting the job done, and also meeting up with your deadlines, is you also have to always be ready. So I know it's vague. I know it's vague, but going into the industry, you have to always be prepared to overcome anything at all, basically, because sometimes it comes at you like a bullet, and sometimes that thing is already there, and you have other alternatives to work with. But you really have to understand, and also just be prepared in terms of how you can overcome something, or how you can throw in new ideas to get the company going. And I think it's just a matter of looking around as well, because you can see, like, from other examples, you learn from other companies, and you see how they grow, and how you would like to maybe adapt to some of their styles or different ways, so that it's also a sharing. Because the way I see, for the especially in the mice and BE industry, we are not saying that we are competing anymore, because right now, this instant, and in this close to endemic age, we need to be together to succeed. And I think the best practices should be shared amongst everyone, so that everyone can chip in, and can also, like, go forward from the 2 years, or the almost 3 years case of pandemic that we've been through. So in terms of preparing, you just have to have a good attitude. You have to have a lot of great common sense, that is important. And also, I think you also need to be more confident. Not to say that confident in everything, like, ni boleh, tu boleh, ni boleh, but then confidence, as you just need to believe in yourself, because when you believe in yourself, you can practically do anything, inshallah. So I'll leave the rest to Ali.
Okay, guys. I'm going to give you a clear cut on your preparation. So you ready your books. This is going to take long, not long, but it's going to be interesting for you to know. All right. So what kind of skills do you need before you go and venture into career as a whole, and also for POPR? First, email skills, emailing skills. So how do you get emailing skills? You have to do a lot of emailing, and I mean it by a lot of emailing. So there are a lot of languages, there are a lot of nuances in emailing that you need to master. It's not as simple as just email. You need to make your message across. Most of miscommunication and most of problems happens during emailing. So if you're a good emailer, you know how to communicate well and negotiate well, that's going to be a skill. So where do you learn it before this? Now, you're going to learn about emailing from YouTube. Go learn about how to do email professionally. Go to YouTube. Get some videos. Watch some videos on how to do emailing. What kind of email language is suitable? Uh, Use it UK. If you can find it in UK, because closest to us is UK punya kind of mentality approach. So find it. Get that email skills from hey good day to hope you are well to putting forward information, attach other documents. Thank you for your kind understanding. Have a nice day and kind regards. Everything is an art. So go for that. Learn from your YouTube. Second, transferable skills. What are transferable skills? It doesn't matter if you go to any kind of department, any kind of discipline, but the skills has to be the same. You can use it, you can or go, like we said, top-down learning, because you already understand what you need to be doing. You just need to know what the job is doing currently. That's it. So it makes you able to jump around anywhere and survive. Transferable skills. So how do you get transferable skills? Sure, you can find it in YouTube. What are the good thing about transferable skills? But I'm gonna give it from a general perspective. Social media knowledge. I'm talking Facebook ads, Google Sense, Google Ads, Facebook Analytics, Google Analytics. Explore that. Explore how to see that. At least you have an idea what that thing is used for. Right? What are reach? What are engagements? What are likes? What are that kind of stuff in the analytics. Understand what it means, because the people that you're going to talk to doesn't understand what it means. So that's where you go. Second is your awareness on um interpersonal skills. Transferable skills, interpersonal skills. You are basically finding ways to get job done by working as a team. And the responsibility is to really understand and quickly understand what your teammates are doing, what are their seats right now, what are their job responsibility and roles, and how you can help them and how they can help you, and understand your boss's role as well. Because at the end of the day, you need to understand what kept them asleep at night, what kept them asleep at night, and how could you help them. Doesn't matter from your head manager to your CEO, what kept them. If you can go to that level of finding value for them, kiranya, you think about in this sort of train of thought. What kept people up at night? How can you help them? That's transferable skill. From there, you work on your skills, you learn on stuff, and then you do it because you can do it more efficiently. Everyone will appreciate that. That's transferable skills. Get that in your YouTube or read some articles on transferable skills. This is actually the least part of is abstract that I am talking about lah. Because why? Transferable skills is depends on the people, depends on who you are and what you're doing right now. But so usually social media, copywriting skills, usually doesn't matter. You work anywhere, you have to do some writing skills. And if you are keen on IPRMSA, you may neglect your BM as well. So yeah, I know it's hard. I am currently learning it back as well, my BM. It's very weird if you look at my BM versus if you look at my English. I admit, because it happened. It happened. Okay, it happens because why we full on English lah. And okay about that. And then presentation skills. This is currently what you're building right now, and maybe the only thing that you're building right now, which is not enough. Presentation skills. Now, how do you gauge your good presentation skills? How do you gauge it? How do you become a good presenter? When the moment you don't really need to use a slide, you can just speak from your heart and from your knowledge. To get that, you need knowledge. You need to learn and you need to understand the subject matter expertise. You need to be in tune with that knowledge. You don't. How do you create this knowledge? Create a study group and have someone teachers or have a round robin. Different people teaching different things every day, every moment. If you can gather, what is good for your future career development as well. You don't know what your friends are going to be in the future. Think about that, right? If you think macam susahnya nak berkawan kan, what can they be in the future? What are their business prospects for you? Because you already have a friendship with them, it's easy for you to leverage juga lah one day kan. Macam tu lah. Kan? For example, if you want help for me one day as a reference ke apa kerja, of course I'm going to help it because I know you. See? Doesn't have to be a friend. I can become a business prospect as well. We all live in that we all live in that notion tau. So it's all respectable, no problem. So presentation skills. Train it enough so that you don't need a slide. You just need a slide to know where you are je. And then you just talk and try to make mistakes from the presentation. Why? The mistakes teaches you how to learn and where to speak and what to say. It creates this person, right? For your information, yeah, my high school years, my diploma years, I am not a good presenter. I did my mistakes. I cried at the bathroom. I ran into the bathroom. I cried. Yeah, it happened. So, as part of being relatable as I can be right now, that's what happened to me. And if you didn't cry on your first presentation, then you're on a better spot than me before. All right? So that's a good motivation. And then business know-how. This is very important. You go to any company, everything is business. Everything is about making money or saving money. So what do? So you need to understand about FDI, foreign direct investments. So what are the business coming from outside to Malaysia and what are the business from Malaysia going to outside? This is very important for your information as well. Because at the end of the day, everything that revolves around what you're doing hinges on that FDI. Belgium's coming in for investing market, uh, food security, Brazil, Turkey, Arab for halal food, halal hub, high tech eco park. All of this are basically the kind of things that you need to read, have an idea what is going on. Because at the nanti you duduk dekat tu, your bosses and your manager is talking about that. Of course you're going to talk about that. And then you macam, what are they talking about? And at least if you read, you have an idea. Oh, then you can ask questions because why? Oh, macam, and then you ask questions. Doesn't matter if it's stupid question or if it's still a question, you will get answered. At least you get answered because why? You ask the questions because you read. If you can contribute to the conversation, you are already managerial level of knowledge. Imagine that. Ah, the value comes from the knowledge you have. So business know-how, right? NFTs, cryptocurrencies, the world right now, the Internet of Things, automation, Industry 4.0, get idea on that. And then the news from the outside world. So to make yourself super credible and super professional, depending on where you are, you know what happens in outside world. You know what happens in Ukraine, Russia. You care about that thing and how does it affect the economy? How does it affect Malaysia's economy? At least because when you talk about that thing to someone that doesn't read, you are branded as wow, this person is very knowledgeable, and it creates a cycle of change for you to learn more and read more because you need to talk things more to people, thus making you more knowledgeable, and it's good for you in the long process. Have a good time. Twitter is very good. They are giving a lot of information. Twitter, Facebook. Don't go for Facebook much lah. Banyak fake news. Go for Twitter. I like Twitter. Twitter have a little less than fake news lah because people there are actually trying hard to prove themselves that they are right, but they are right. And they have their points. You just take it, right? So get the outside world punya perspective as well. Don't go into macam duduk. My job is me, my kursi and my laptop. It doesn't work like that, right? To grow, to be more, you go more. And let me tell you, it doesn't require much. Have a 1 hour of reading for a week. That's about 3 hours of reading for every week. You have 157 hours per week, so you can use it 3 hours for reading, and you can get the whole of the benefits as well. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is every much as important as if you are going for a managerial position, which of course you are going for. You are looking at critical thinking. How do you achieve that? First thing first, in your group study or whatever you want, if you are already in manager, in director position, Miss Najwa here, actually, if you want to know what she's thinking every day, every moment of time, is my actions going? What does my actions affect? Who, what, when, and why? She has to think that the critical thinking. Her action depends on every aspects of the action. So she has to sit down and think, what is it about? Who's going to get affected? And my emotion is involved here and there. That is critical thinking. From there, you can make an informed decision. That is going on in Ms. Najwa's head. What event or any kind of event. So if you understand what she thinks, then you are going for the managerial level as well. That's how you connect with your orang kata, your leaders lah. Because why? What kept them up at night? And then you give value to that. Because a good follower is a good leader. Then you can be, and if you can do what Najwa is doing, there is it. So she can rest assured that she has trustworthy people. That's critical thinking. Always look at every angle. If you are PR, you have to look at every department's angle. Funny, eh? If you have 20 department, yes, 20 departments angle. It's not even funny. It's actually there because PR is the front line of everything. So yeah, it's kind of difficult, but you'll get there. It's ala biasa tinggal biasa lah. Leadership. You need to have leadership. So what kind of skills how do you build leadership and where do you build leadership? Leadership is technically when you are given a task, and this is where you're going to take leadership. The leadership happens when you get a task. Remember that when you get a task, how well you are as a leader depends on the task. The first thing a leader should do is, what's my team's resources? Can my team do this? Can I do this with my team? Create that mentality first. Going outside to the working world, and even right now in IPRM, if you got a job, you got a assignment, if you got a group assignment, can my team do this? What does my team needs in order for us to do this well? That's the thing. Because you as a leader, you're nothing without your teammates, and as a teammate, you're nothing without the leader's vision. It all works hand in hand. So get that. So that's the train of thought. You can train this with your group mates. For your business, for your business know-how, you can train it with your with news in News Straits Times. Very good. Bernama TV is very good. Business know-how, you can go for business articles. And last, approaching, which means that how do you approach people? Actually, sometimes you found out the reason. It's hard to talk to someone when you have nothing to talk about. Seriously, it's very hard to talk to someone when you have nothing to talk about. So how do you alleviate this problem? Find a common ground. Do you know what I do? Sometimes if I want to have a basic conversation with someone, what I usually do is that, you pakai earphone tak? Pakai headphone tak? Pakai headphone tak? Headphone apa you suggest eh? From there cukup. That is a good starter. Very simple thing for me lah. So what are the things that allows you to talk to someone very randomly, very relatably, and create from there? And 5 times out of 10, there's going to be some valuable things happening lah. Right? So how do you get that? You can go read about what are interpersonal topics. You can talk casually with your colleagues. It usually works. People will work hard to layan you as well lah, because colleagues, you know you want a good relationship with them, they know you want a good relationship with you. It works in tandem. And if you're contributing now, maybe they contribute later. If you found that kind of colleague relationship, which is good, right? So that's this kind of preparation you need before you work. And I kid you not, if you do this well, you're going to have a good smooth sailing. You're not lah. Right. Thank you very much for that.
All right. Thank you so much for the both answers. It's really helpful. Okay. Next, we will move on the Q&A session. So if any of the audience have any questions, kindly drop it and I will ask it from you.
I have a very proud story of my friends who doesn't go to PR career. I have several of my friends who went into digital marketing, went into customer relationship, but it's purely business. I'm very proud because basically he's the head of operations already. My age, head of operations. Some of us are executives, some of us are still interns. Some people are doing way better than other people. But for us, is to be proud. Because why? PR is not the end all be all. PR is a good transferable skill, and the rest they went somewhere. So some of them went to oil rigs, oil-based company. Some of them went to development company. Some of them even went to drone coordination company. I don't remember what the name is. Dana, something like that. Aerodyne. So yeah, so there are drone service provider. A lot of people. It doesn't matter what you are becoming in the future. You can be a PR or not, but whatever you learn, if you go back to PR, you can. It's a bit difficult to have that kind of transition, but it works. It actually does happen, and don't be so surprised if you are tiba-tiba as a teacher. If it's written, then it's written. But if you have the transferable skills, you are almost always prepared for the PR punya industry.
Yeah, because I also have some friends who are teachers, lecturers even, and they also some of them also ventured into digital marketing, and it's another field besides of PR. And Alhamdulillah, they are doing very good. And I think that even though you have those PR skills, and even though you're outside of the field, you're still carrying that quality or that a set of skills. So actually, everywhere you go is PR, and even if you're not into PR, so at times you are doing PR because you are talking about something, and well, PR is getting the word around, right? So yeah, I think for every businesses or whatever industry, most of my friends are doing well. So yeah, I'm happy for them.
So does everyone gets a job in the end? Yes. Only what kind of job are we talking about? So if you count internship as a job, it's still a job. And right now they are doing a lot of initiatives. Protege, the Petronas is doing a lot of uh, you know internship opportunities and trainee opportunities. It's still a job. Everyone can have a job.
Like
Everyone,
graduate programs as well. There's a lot of graduate
yeah,
programs.
everyone is deserve to have a job because at the end of the day, you need to know what you can be, what you can do, uh, and such. And who knows, maybe one day you do take medic. You never know. One day, you just tiba-tiba masuk medic school balik, you never know. So just keep an open mind and open heart about what you are doing in your life.
You can venture as well into business. Like say for instance you're interested in, or you have a product you want to sell, then one day you can be a businesswoman or an entrepreneur. And I think the possibilities are out there, and it depends on um knowing yourself and also what you want to be.
Just a little bit to add. Okay, 2022, people are looking at entrepreneurship. People are looking at YouTuber opportunities and
Content
or 9 to 5 work. Okay, all of them have its pros and cons, but I'm going to tell you some of the statistics for three of these. For workers, right now we have a little bit of 160,000 graduates and 88,000 workers. So half of them doesn't have work. It's a very problematic thing in happens in Malaysia right now. But that's where I said the niche things that you can do. Three of the niche things that you can do can at least give you an edge over the 80,000, because that 80,000 may have only one or two big skills. So the more skills you have in your arsenal, the better your chances. If you're doing business, if you're really starting from scratch from business, keep in mind that you're going to fail in 7 years. I mean, you're going to fail and you're going to be doing this for 5 years, and you're going to have less sleep. You're going to have a very weird relationship with people because you're focusing on your business. People are not going to be they're not going to believe you what you're doing. But it's a process in the end. I did my proofreading services. I did my copywriting services, translation services. Took me 5 years, 6 years to start it up and be comfortable with it. It's a very hard road, and it's a word of mouth. So right now, currently, it's the first year I put it into LinkedIn when I'm confident enough to put it as a part of my semi job lah. That is it. And business is really really hard, really really patient. I'm going to fail a lot of things. And YouTube, everyone wants to be a YouTuber because the prospects of having a lot of money. I'm going to tell you the numbers there. Let's go with YouTube lah. I'm not really keen on Instagram and such, but YouTube. You make your money monetization if you want to do your YouTube job and you can survive yourself in the end. You need to at least 180k subscribers. But to get 180k subscribers with potential of 1 million views per month, you need to be able to create good monetization. And there's a lot of algorithms, very weird algorithms, and the penetration for YouTube is 0.2%. Yes, in Malaysia, your chances of succeeding in YouTube is 0.2%. If you like that odds, go for it. If you don't like that odds, then yeah, thousands and hundreds of thousands are created. YouTube, 0.2% manages to make money of it, and the rest makes a living out of it, and they make good money. That's how it is lah in YouTube. So yeah, that's about the working reality right now lah.
I see Amira asked if it does it get mentally and physically draining working as PR. I think especially in PR, for coming from myself, it does get mentally and physically draining because at times we have international con call, and we have to wake up at 3 because the other side of the world is 9, and we have to coordinate with their timing as well, and we have to be mindful as well. And mentally and physically draining, yes, it does get mentally and physically draining. That's why I said that it's important at the end of the day is you take some time for yourself just to rejuvenate, to revive. Just take like 10 or 20 minutes of your phone, because um in this line or in this field, your phone will always be ringing. It's either a client, it's either your boss, it's either your colleague, it's either a new prospect. So it can get overwhelming. So my advice is for you to shut down for a while and just focus on yourself, because that is something that we cannot run away from, because that's the dynamic of PR, where it's fast pacing and fast moving, and everything needs to be done there and then. Especially if you're in a crisis and you have to be answerable, and you have to prepare like a PR on the spot. Yeah, it does get mentally and physically draining. So you have to find some time for yourself. Um, just 10 minutes would do, or because you, at the end of the day, you also need the energy to wake up the next day to repeat everything that you've done the day before. So that would take some time as well, to be able to adapt to and also to get through. And I would say that to get through all of this, you would need a great support system. It can be your friend, it can be your family, your mom. So if at times you're feeling maybe at the lowest point of your life or at your day, call someone, talk about it, and make sure that you're always connected, and you always have someone to let out things that um you've been through that day. Ali?
For me, physically draining is nothing. Work is semua kerja penat.
Yeah.
Physically draining is something that you balik and you need to do, and then you find. Mentally draining is something really, really mentally draining. The mental fatigue that you have. What causes mental fatigue? This is actually in PR, not in any kind of work. I don't know any kind of work, but in PR, what kind of things that drains your mental health? It's because it's not about the kind of stuff that you're doing is hard. No, it's sometimes because PR is so abstract. If you don't know what you're fighting for me, if you don't have the reason to wake up and fight for something in the morning, he will mentally drain you. If you're fighting for a cause you don't like, it will mentally drain you because you see it as a burden. It's a bit different from sales because you wake up, you have to find the KPI for money for the sales. But for PR, what's the KPI? What's the change that you want to do today? What's the engine of change that you want to be? It is weird when you don't have things that you want to fight for. There are people who goes to humanitarian PR companies because at the end of the day, you're putting smiles on children's faces, you're putting smiles on people's faces, on the community. That keeps you up. That makes you sleep at night. It's more on mentally draining. And if you are working so hard and your boss doesn't praise you for whatever it is, it's mentally draining. People need praises, a good balance of scolding and praises, reprimanding and praises. If you only have reprimands and no praises, you never grow. Remember that. If you always get reprimanded, you'll never grow because you don't know what the level of praise needed for that level. Sure, you need to have a reprimand. People are pushing you to become the best version, and when you do it, they have to give some praises on what you're doing. Then you have putting a good standard of what you're doing and a good growth in in your career and also for your skills. If you always get reprimanded in your work, think of it. There's nothing good coming out from just reprimanding. You need to have some praises. If you can talk to your superiors on that notion, I see that you're always reprimanding. There are no praises. What are the praises? Because at least if you have praises, you can have an idea of what how good the work is going to be and how quality of work your work needs to be. But if you don't have it, you're going to get mentally draining because you're going to prove for something that you don't know what you're proving for. See, you don't know what you're fighting for. That is the problem for PR stuff, right? For me, I get my energy from youth development right now. This is for me. I slept at I don't know what happened last night. I don't know. Maybe I'm physically tired, but I know I'm not mentally tired anymore because why? I'm sharing something for people. This is what keeps me up. This is what keeps me going. So this is the energy. So find your energy for you. If you're doing it for your family, noble cause, go it. Everyone has the reason to fight. So do not ridicule your reason to fight. That's why. And if you are really a keen, I want to go for more money. And if the reason for you to wake up per day to get more money, go for it. No one can judge what you're fighting for, but you need to have a reason why you're fighting for because your work life balance hinges on that thing. So yeah, okay.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
So my question is, based on the previous events that we've done in IPAR MSA, also based on the speakers that's been with us for all this time. So I noticed that majority of them always change their workplace. They always transfer from one company to another company. And then my question is it true that if we would like to upscale ourselves in PR, do we have to change workplace often? Like maybe more experience? Yeah, that's my question. Do I need to change my workplace often in the future when I would like to work in this PR field? Thank you.
Fatin, I'll take this one first. This
Yeah.
actually hits home to me real hard. Every each one of us that is currently working in PR have this dilemma of of jumping and jumping. But let me tell you something. 2022 is a very different from 2020, 2010. The supposed loyalty to a company is always respectable, it's noble. But you must always keep an open mind about your opportunities in the future. Because to grow fast, you have to jump fast. But you need to do it smart. You need to not you don't need to be greedy. Don't be greedy. Do it smart. The opportunities, and if it's going for a growth that you can see, go for it. But make sure you don't work in 6 months and then you go for somewhere and jump. That's a bad thing. Work at least 2 years or 1.5 year. Understand what it needs, what the mission and vision of the company. If people ask you what the company does, you can answer it in 1 or 2 minutes. If you have that level already, then it's time to look at things. If you have done enough what you can to the company, then find other opportunities. Other opportunities will come. There are doors that will be open. Always keep an open mind. Jumping companies is not as bad as you think. It's only bad when you jump every 6 months. That means you cannot adapt to the work environment. But if you do it for 1 or 2 years, 2 years at most, then it's a good way to jump. People already saw 2 years, something like good. And always, if you want to jump somewhere, you need to know about how shall we say this? If you want to jump somewhere, you need to be employed when you jump. Make sure you are still employed when you jump because it's good for your employers to see that you are very credible, you are very honest in your work, and you're very good in your work because you are not fired and you still have work and you go for an interview. It's normal. Everyone does that in this world right now. Everyone does that. So have a safety net for your company and also you work for your interview. It's all normal. It's all respectable in the end, right? So don't worry to jump ship. There are always opportunities, better or worse, doesn't matter. Maybe it's worse in your culture, better for your money. worse for your money, better for your life and health. It depends. What you want at that moment. You want to start a family, you need more money. Maybe you sacrifice a bit. You want to build a business, you need more money. Maybe you start a bit. You want to lay back and get some empathy for yourself. You go humanitarian, less money, but you're less stress. Depends on you. It all works out in the end. Because at the end of the day, no one's gonna ask you how much you make. For those who ask you how much you make, they are practically the kind of people that you don't want in your life. That's it. The only people that ask you how much you make should be your spouses and your husbands, because it's important for the family. Yeah, this is something I'm sharing as part of someone that's going to be married soon, as something that's very hits home and it's a very realistic thing to look at. Because if you're jumping, you're doing it for what? If I'm jumping, I'm doing it for my family, then it's noble, and I have to do it. And it's my decision. So at that moment, you are a full-fledged, matured person. You're doing it for the family. So yeah, that's my advice to you. If I think, how about you?
Yeah, I think I agree as well. Because let's say if you jump 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, the person or the company that will hire or is taking you into consideration to hire you would question, why are you moving in 6 months? What have you done in those 6 months, and how can you contribute in my company if you only have 6 months experience or whatnot? And I wouldn't say like Ali said, I wouldn't say jumping is a bad thing, but yeah, do have like an adequate experience or contribution first before you jump. So it will show your next employer that you are capable of doing or creating, building something in a span of 2 years. And perhaps at that moment of time, it would be beneficial for the new company, because maybe they want to venture into something new fast and whatnot. And you do have that experience. So that's all right. But yeah, if you're jumping like 9 months or a year, for me, it doesn't show how much you can contribute to the new company. And I think PR skills will also grow with you as you go. And you can always upskill yourself along the way, that when you get to the end of what you're of the career that you're going through. Yeah. I hope we answered your question, Najwa.
Yes, it definitely answers my questions.
But yeah, I guess that you don't have to be afraid. So if you see opportunities, or you see that you want to move, or you want to get a new job or something, you just go for it. If you have the confidence and you have the will, especially, just go for it.
So thank you so much. That's why I'm asking, because usually when we see government workers, they will stay at that post, at that position, until they will get increment in their job levels. So if I were to venture into PR, I was a little bit scared. If my parents, so both of my parents are government workers, they have been had a really stable job. So it might afraid them that maybe sometimes in the future I need to change my workplace quite often for this yeah, for PR. So I need to know this. Thank you so much for
Yeah, but
clarifying.
I think
Yeah.
if you're talking about government, the government practices is different from the private sector. Yeah, Ali, would you wanna?
Yeah, government, the reason why people stay in government for long is the end goal for that long-term benefits. If you make 15K per month in government, if you retired, then you get paid 7.5K per month retirement fund. Now what everyone wants that. The benefit for government is so high, and the prospects so high. You get a very stable job, and it's very good. Which is why people say go for government jobs. But is it as easy as you think? No. The competition is stiff, super stiff, and you need to have more than niche. You need to have value added activities and driven things to be the cream of the crop. Uh, that's not to say private is bad. No, private has its benefits as well. These are two different dynamics we're talking about. But people, maybe your parents, they will talk about staying in government because they had it good at that time. You will have it good when you're in time. But maybe if your private company serves more than the government or whatever it is that you feel like you belong there or such, why not, right? So I have no things about the government yet, but I do have some friends in the government area. Yeah, they're having it good. The work is the same. Work still work. Kerja semua penat. It's all physically draining. Balik-balik tidur juga. But is it mentally draining? It's up to them. They still smile. Or is it smiling that I don't know if they're depressed or not? I don't know. No one wants to tell that, right? For that's the thing, right? If you go given a chance to, if your parents say go for government, don't follow because what your parents say, but understand that there are benefits in the government that is really really good for you as well, with some caveats as well. There are always strings attached to whatever you do. Always make sure when you sign that document, you read everything, you understand what it is. You have biasanya you have 2 weeks to decide on that, or 2 days. Sit down with your parents and look at that number. You look at that legal document. They know better. Kan? Because a lot of people get macam strapped lah. Because not trapped. It's basically they just sign. They don't know the fine print of the HR behind that. Termination contract, 3 months notice, 2 months notice, 1 month's pay in lieu thereof. There are a lot of terms that are going to make you pening, and it makes you making a non-informed decision. But since you are since you are fresh grads, do you have a choice? No, that's the thing. You don't have much choice right now. You're building your repo yet. You're building your career. Take it 5 years or take it 4 years. Then you have a say in what you want to be. You know your value dah. So love the process first. For me, the first 5 years of my working, my gaji is low. Even now pun nak kata pun low juga. Tapi, if it's something that I like it because why? It's a working experience for me. It's a working experience for me to be able to learn more and understand on the atmosphere. That experience is paid for the gaji. Yes, a very controversial word. You need gaji to survive. How can you live with 1.5? Well, I've been there before. Yeah, betul. We cannot live with 1.5 in KL. I've been there, done that, tried that. I survived with only 500 in KL. It's not good. Don't do it. That it's don't live like that. I don't want to wish that upon anyone. So take 1-2 years, learn the ropes first. Get into the corporate world. Get some idea of what you're fighting for. Then create value, then decide to jump ship or create value in another place. Right? You're not betraying a company, remember that. You're doing it as a strategic move. And for those that understands, really does understand. And for those that doesn't understand, don't worry about it. You cannot convince anyone what you're doing. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
I guess we have just one more question before we end. Just one last question if you have. Leave a benchmark before you. Yeah. I am currently very proud. I am very proud with Stella, one of the associations in FBK that I founded with my 4 friends and a team before. Stella, Student Editorial Language Association. I would say it's a benchmark that I left, that me and my team left before we proceed to our university. We found out that there are things in the working world that requires our strict preparation before we enter into that world. Stella is there, and they're doing it way better and well than that I expected. So I'm proud of them. That's the benchmark, and it took a leap of faith for us to be able to create that association. But if I like to think that we put a good foundation on that, and the good people continued on that path. There are always good people who continues on good path. So I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, doesn't matter where you are. If you leave a benchmark in your company, go right ahead. Because why? Let's say one of the things that I think I can be proud of last year. I put a 140k ROI savings for the department. 140k savings in terms of editing, video editing, and the content for that. So one human can save 140k for a company. It's big. So always know your worth, and always make sure you calculate what you're doing in your work so that you have an idea what ROI, return on investment that they have on you and you give to them. So that leverage is always going to be existing for you. Yeah. But do you have anything?
Yeah, I think besides the RI and whatnot, I think it's the people you meet along the way is also important for you to get inspiration from, for you to learn more, grow more, and understand what other things are happening and whatnot. So I think um, the people along your journey is important, and in terms of your working environment, who you meet is important too. So if it doesn't matter if they're like big stars or ministers or anybody important, but it's good to take inspiration from them. And I think that's um I would say it's a benchmark where you can go further and really grow in your career. And it's also important that you take inspiration from these people to not just inspire yourself, but also to gain new knowledge from them. So, yeah, I think PR is a beautiful field, and it's versatile. So, inshallah, if you guys were to pursue in the PR career, it would be colorful and wonderful for you guys.
If possible, for me, don't worry, just contact us. Should you have anything, insights that you want to ask before you do some actions, what are the things that you want to do, want to get some advices, we are there to help. And we will put aside our busy schedules, we'll try to find a time, and we'll try to answer as best as we can. That's the least we can do.
It's okay. Our phones are on 24/7. So anytime.
All right, I think no more questions that will be asked. But if you guys have any question after this, you can keep in touch with these two panels. Right. As a saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending, and now this forum has come to the end. Once again, thank you to everyone for gracing our program with your presence, and truly appreciate it. A special mention and thanks to Mr. Ali and Mrs. Fatin for providing us a lot of insights for today's event. So, and to all our participants, hoping we have gained as much input as possible and inspired to get involved in PR field. That's all from me, and I will give back the floor to our MC for the next activity. Stay safe and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Ali Hassan, Ms. Fatin Zafira, and Ms. Putri for the informative discussion just now. Okay, I hope that the vast knowledge that has been shared just now will be practiced for future use. So next, that we have prepared some quiz for our respective and loyal spectators for staying with us up until now. Furthermore, we will be finding 5 winners through this quiz session, where the most exciting surprise is that the winners will be getting 10 ringgit each. So for your information too, the monetary prize will be credited to Shopee Pay. Without further ado, let us start our quiz session. So, the team for quiz session, can you share the slide? For your information too, you will receive a Google form link at the chat box to access the quiz. Handsome-nya jangan. Aku buka voice. I'm sorry. Where's the... Alright. Ini tiba-tiba. I think they have a problem with the connection, but it's okay. We will share the slide with everyone after this event, and don't forget to get the link at the chat box to participate in this quiz. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that we have come to the end of our talk. Overall, we would like to wish and express our sincerest gratitude to our speaker of the day for that great information. We would like to thank the lecturer as well as everyone here for your participation and support throughout this entire forum. Okay, we wish to apologize for any requiring inconvenience during these 2-hour event. Thus mark the end of our talk. May this cloud spark the student enthusiasm to continue striving the best for the future, especially in the field of public relations. And may you spend the rest of your day in high spirit. And don't forget to wear your mask and stay safe, everybody. So before we go, I will kindly ask everyone to remain in this online room for a brief photo session. May I ask all our guests to please turn on your camera and strike your confident pose. So please remain in your pose for 5 seconds for us to screen capture it. So get ready, everyone. I will count, yes? Okay. In one, okay. I already the doctor. Okay.
Outside of my
In
mom's
1,
house because
2, 3,
technician.
say
Okay, sudah balik.
cheese. Okay, one more. This time I want to all of you pose with freestyle. Can? Okay, in 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, thank you very much for all of you. Okay, attention to all participants. Please stay for a while after this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fatin and Mr. Ali.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Always a pleasure,
Madam.
Doctor. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. All the best to everyone.
All the best to IPRM SA, Uniza chapter.
We'll invite again.
Yes, please do invite again lah. Tak apa.
Anytime. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Very insightful session.
Thank you so much.
Waalaikumsalam. Have a nice day. Selamat malam.